How's it going, guys? We're talking about my child today. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's literally less than a year away. I feel like I've been talking about this thing for more than 3 years, 4 years, and it's less than a year away. It's incredible. At the time of recording this video, we are only 150, maybe a little bit over, so like 160, somewhere around there, 150 subscribers away from hitting 50,000 subscribers. Now, I will be streaming tonight. It is Wednesday, so we will be streaming. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get Wreckfest set up yet because I want to do the Nascar mods, but I'm getting a little bit confused with the setup of if that's possible to take that on. I'm getting a little bit, I'm working on it, all right? So hopefully we can do that next week. But this week, we're going to go on iRacing, and I purchased a new track. It's called iRacing Super Speedway. I had never raced it before. It was official week last week on there. I didn't do any races, but I want to see what that track's like. So we're going to do a few races at iRacing Super Speedway. So come on iRacing tonight. But again, 150 subs away. Maybe we can hit it tonight. I don't know. Maybe during live stream. That would be pretty cool. But subscribe. Let's talk about the next gen. All right, guys, like we are, man, I mean, this car is coming next year. I don't think there's going to be any delays. There could be, maybe, it maybe won't run every race. You know, that's a possibility. We could have a car of tomorrow situation. I would not like that. I think we just move over to it, hopefully, you know, get rid of Gen 6 as soon as we can. But they're testing this car at Darlington, and we have a lot of footage. We have photos, we have videos, we have Tyler Reddick talking about it as well. We're all going to go through that here in this video. So first up, let's hear from Tyler Reddick, because I feel like it's always so important to listen to the driver because they are the ones driving the car. They are the ones that they understand what they want or what they feel from the car. They understand what creates good racing. So I always love to listen to the drivers. It's something NASCAR has not done well over the last decade, is listen to the drivers. They try to do their own things. They try to do their own. They listen to the teams or listen to people that are not in the car. You got to listen to someone or the people that work on the car or that are in the car to understand what creates good racing. So let's listen to Tyler Reddick and hear what he has to say.
Hey guys, well, we're here in Darlington. I've got the next gen car behind me. We've been running through some tire combinations, doing some 10-lap runs this morning, so unfortunately not really had the fall off to get up by the wall yet, but it's still Darlington. We're still seeing a good amount of tire fall off, even with the difference in you know, the sidewall and the wheels that are on this thing. So that's been a lot of fun. It's still very challenging, honestly, if not more challenging, to get around this racetrack now than in this car than what I've been used to in Xfinity or the Cup Series. So we'll see what I guess after lunch brings. We're going to be doing some long runs and going through some more Goodyear tire combinations. We've just been running through that and trying to get a tire that's really going to, I guess, force the driver to really manage his car and be able to use the rights up some and then maybe get tight, or if he uses his left side tires up too much, maybe he's going to get loose. I don't know. We'll keep working on it. Hopefully we'll get some action up by the fence through 3 and 4. We're getting the track rubbered in, and we're getting closer and closer to getting to that. So having fun so far. The transmission, everything's pretty wild. So it's really, really fun experience. I'm thankful to NASCAR and Darlington for letting me have this opportunity in the next gen car.
One thing I really like that he said is that these cars, if so, could be more difficult to drive at the current moment than the Xfinity cars. And the Xfinity cars are the closest thing we have to somewhat real racing at the moment. Well, I mean, off throttle time, the car getting sideways a little bit. I mean, we know what we're talking about. That was nice to hear. Now, they are at Darlington, and they're doing a tire test at Darlington, so they're trying out different sidewalls, different tire compounds, trying to find the right balance for tire fall off, tire grip, and just seeing what works around Darlington with the car that they have. You guys remember Liam, good friend Liam Brotherton? He broke it down in a tweet. I mean, look at this photo. You could look at the photo. We have the small blade on the rear. Now, I will say, I don't like overreacting or, you know, reacting at all to what the spoiler's like, because you can always change it, and I don't think it makes a massive, I mean, it does make a massive difference, but it's sometimes there's a lot of overreaction. You just look at the back of the car and like, oh, small blade or big blade. You know, 2014 Gen 6 had a big blade and it was the best year of Gen 6. So it depends on what else is around the car. But you have the raised center section in the splitter, so the front end of the splitter is raised up. You have the hood vents on the hood. You have the rear end diffuser, which you can't see in the picture, but you have that as well. You have underbody ventilation, way less skew. So what he means by that is, you know, the skew has been something that I've been really annoyed with. Creates a lot of side force, creates a lot of side draft. And yes, side drafting is fun, but for being able to race side by side within the corner, having less skew having less side force will not allow the driver next to you to kind of take the air off of the side of your car, and that means you'd be able to actually race side by side more often, which means you'd be able to make sure, you know, rubbin's racing a little bit. You'd be able to make a little bit of contact, and with this car, by the way, one major thing about it is that the splitter is not, or how do I say, the side of the car is not as sharp, or the splitter is not as sharp either. So when you get next to another car, as you guys know right now, or if you hit them in a certain way, the tire usually cuts down. That should not be the case here with this car either. So hopefully we'll get more side-by-side racing, more aggressive racing, and guys being able to race side-by-side with each other and not have to worry about themselves losing side force. Now, you could do that if you want to, and NASCAR's been doing it with the mile-and-a-half package so far, is you make them go full throttle, and that way if you're going full throttle, you know, you really have a lot of downforce, which is what they have now. They have the big blade on the back, no horsepower, a lot of downforce, a lot of grip, and you could race 3-4 wide on restarts, but that isn't true racing. What we want is obviously off throttle time. We want to see the drivers actually have to, you know, drive the race car and actually show their talent, while still being able to race each other. And that's the one thing you cannot get with Gen 6. You cannot race with each other because the air is so dependent. Even if you put a small blade on the back and you put horsepower back in the car on the Gen 6, so much side force, so much aero dependency within the car itself that you can't really race side by side. And what we want is you know, maybe a little over a decade ago, even at the beginning of the car tomorrow, you saw a lot of side by side racing that was not affected by the air as much. Now, you will obviously find examples out there of cars getting loose underneath someone else. That's always going to happen. But what I am saying is you literally can't even do it right now. I mean, you can't even really race side by side whatsoever in that situation with the Gen 6 car without getting insanely aero dependent and then losing your car basically. Now, there are some video clips that we'll see from the car. There's one clip going down the straightaway where you're going to be able to hear the car shift actually. So there's a sequential box now on the car. The transmission is completely different. This is something the drivers have been talking about a lot, how it's a lot of fun right now. So we'll see that more into the future. But there's also a camera angle on the right rear of Tyler Reddick. Well, not on the butt cheek. Let me take that back. On the right rear of Tyler Reddick's car, there is a camera, and so it's like a minute and a half, and you can actually hear, if you listen carefully, you can hear how much off throttle time there is. Don't take too much account into it. Again, there is a small blade on the back, very small spoiler. We don't know the horsepower package. No offense, no matter how talented or, you know, crazy you are in terms of knowing your cars, I don't think you could tell exactly how much horsepower is in this thing. So we don't know the horsepower either. We don't know what they're testing. Again, it's just a tire test. They keep testing these things. My hope is around 600 horsepower. I don't want really 750. I don't want what we have now, which is what, 550? 600, 625 is somewhere I would prefer. Put the small blade on the back, and what the drivers have been talking about is the torque on the car, the power that it has on acceleration is back. So that is something that's really nice to see. Let's watch these clips real quick. listening carefully, you could kind of hear the off throttle time. Drives a lot like Darlington that you think you would. You let off a little bit into 1, gas it up in through the middle of 1 and 2, let it off to cut down at the exit of turn 2, and then turns 3 and 4, you kind of just run the bottom. A lot of off throttle time there, and you kind of coast it around. Now, we are also getting to the point where the OEMs are going to reveal their cars soon. I mean, we're gonna see them eventually. We're gonna see Chevy, we're gonna see Toyota, and we're going to see Ford reveal the designs of their cars. Now, I've been really hoping for this. I want NASCAR to be as strict as humanly possible on these OEMs. My biggest worry is the OEMs having a lot of leeway to do certain things to the car that, yes, will make it go faster. This is the common thing in motorsport. The sanctioning body has to hold back the teams from ruining the product of the racing, because the team's job is to go faster. And how you go faster, you find downforce in certain areas, you find aero advantages in certain areas. You are not trying to make the car race better. You're trying to make the car go faster for your individual team. So I'm really hoping that NASCAR can just somehow, some way really restrict the rule book as much as they can on these OEMs, while still allowing the car to look like a Ford or look like a Chevy or look like a Toyota. I think they went too far with Gen 6. That was a big thing after the car of tomorrow, and we all know how reactionary NASCAR is and how reactionary the fans are. The fans, you guys are part of this too. We all react way too quickly to certain things. And the car of tomorrow, everyone hated the look of the car, so the Gen 6 was about the look of the car. We had Toyotas and Chevys, and at that point Dodge as well, that looked very different, and they looked more like their stock car resemblance, or what you see in the dealership. That meant each car looked and drove very differently. And to be honest, that's not what I want. I mean, you could have the front end in certain ways to make it, the front end looks like a Toyota Camry, or the front end looks like a Chevy, what are they running? Chevy Camaro. I lost my track for a second. Or Ford looking like a Mustang. You can do that, but I really don't want the OEMs to have too much of a say in terms of the actual body design of the car. Biggest thing about Gen 6, like I've been telling you guys, Gen 6, the body design of the car is horrible. And what we're looking at with this next gen car is there's a lot less aerodynamic play in it. It looks a lot simpler, and simpler is better. The rear diffuser also will help as well. And that was playing a part into how do you make this car look like something that you would see on the street. And I was trying to think to myself, if we're gonna have this massive rear diffuser on the back of the car, how much can Ford and Chevy and Toyota really make the car look like something that they want to sell in the dealership? My biggest thing here, and I think everyone's common goal here, should be to make this thing race better. If we have better races and we have drivers who are enjoying the car, you will see people kind of go back to that way of supporting a Chevy, a Ford, or a Toyota. I don't think you have to make the car look like the Toyota or the Chevy or whatever. I don't think you have to make it look exactly like it and be completely different. I'm not saying spec it out, but make it as close to as humanly possible. That will also make plate races better as well. Just thinking of Daytona and Talladega, the Chevys are having issues right now because of how the pointed nose is, and you can tell how a Ford drafts differently with another Ford compared to a Ford drafting with a Chevy. And if we could just kind of equalize everything, I'm not saying spec it, but equalize it as much as you can while still letting them, do their thing. We should have better plate races too, because I think one thing that we're seeing in the plate races is no one really likes all the Fords working together and all the Chevys working together and all the Toyotas working together. It's kind of annoying to see like your favorite driver running sixth in line in the manufacturer brigade and they can't make a move, and then next thing you know, everyone's running it. And it's just, you don't want that. You want partnerships out there. You want teammates working together. You don't want an entire manufacturer working together against other manufacturers, and then you just have this really weird style of plate racing that we've seen the last few years. So, and that has a lot to do with the car design on the plate tracks, because Chevys really can't really work with a lot of other cars. So, but all signs so far, that I have seen following this car for years, I'm liking what I'm seeing. That's a funny phrase to use. No, but really, I enjoy what I am seeing. I enjoy the marketing strategy as well. The transparency, I think that's a better word. Back in the day, NASCAR would be very close-minded when it came to sharing these things. But this is a different era. It's a different world. Everything, no matter what, everything will leak out in a certain way if you don't want to reveal it. And I like that NASCAR is being so transparent and so open showing these test sessions, showing what they're doing, letting drivers speak their mind. And it doesn't seem like the drivers are restricted in what they're allowed to say. They are saying what they would like to say. NASCAR is being transparent in terms of what the test is, whether it's a test for the car, whether it's a tire test, like for the one at Darlington right now, it's a tire test. They are having certain things in the car that are changed, but it's mainly a tire test. Other times, you take 2 cars, you take 1 car, you take 3 cars, and they try to race them together. And all of this is being shared with the fan base, so we can see the car develop alongside with NASCAR and with the people developing the car. Now, the only thing they're still holding under wraps is the horsepower package and the final details of what they're gonna do. That stuff will all come out eventually when they've settled in on certain things. I would not be against having different packages for different tracks if that's something they want to do. If that's not too expensive in terms of cost, I would be okay with that. If every track had a different package, not every track, but every type of track had a different package for it, like we kind of have now, with short tracks having more horsepower, mile and a halfs having less horsepower, I wouldn't mind that. Let's see what kind of transparency they have in the future. Right now, the car is looking great. It's looking beautiful. The next step will be to see what Toyota, Ford, and Chevy do with it, and hopefully it's not too different. And we'll see where it goes from there. I will see you guys later. Again, subscribe, and follow tonight. Live stream somewhere around 8 to 8:30 Eastern on iRacing. We're going to iRacing Super Speedway. I have a really bad idea of wanting to take Indy cars there. I don't know why, but I want to see how that works. But we're going to do different things. Cup cars, trucks, Xfinity, IndyCar maybe. I mean, why not? Let's just try it. So that will be tonight. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you're not already. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Comment down below. Check the description. Yes, I haven't mentioned them, but yes, Coldest Water. They're not sponsoring the video, but the link is still up. Okay, so if you want the code or the discount, use code RR10. The link is still up, so you can check that in the description. So yeah, I'll see you guys later tonight. Enjoy yourselves and take care. Peace out.